2-0 lead early in this contest. We're only 34 seconds into the game, a minute 34 into the game. Indiana's had 2 shots at the basket. Isaiah Thomas trying to steal from Brian Walker. Purdue, Drake Morris. Now Walker scares, give and go to Walker. Oh, double dribble. So says the down official. Tough break for Purdue as they looked as if they had an offense going, but Walker lost control of the ball. And now Gene Keady has been hit by a technical. Keady, in his protest to Dick Bester, and Bester right in his face, just listened to him and then called the tee, and now Keady's been hit again. Gene Keady with his second technical foul. And Keady is really incensed. So both coaches are going immediately after what's happening on the court, and the officials aren't taking any of it. What do you think, John?
We talked about the first 5 minutes. We've only been 2 minutes. We've seen quite a bit of action already. Both coaches really want to try to get control of the game. So far, the play has been a little ragged. Both coaches would like to see their teams play a little better.
Ted Kitchell, 86% shooter at the line, hits the first 2 on the first technical. It's 6-2. Kitchell, it's good. And that's good. So Kitchell 4 for 4. And now Indiana has the ball and a chance to tie.
Really turned the game around quite a bit. Purdue got that big 6-point lead. Indiana, fortunately, on the 2 technicals, made all 4 free throws.
Indiana with the ball. Isaiah Thomas drives on Walker and scores.
Very quick move by Isaiah that time. He saw the baseline open, took it all the way in. We've got a brand new ball game.
Isaiah Thomas ties it up at 6. Drake Morris. Walker inside, stolen, whistle.
I believe it was called kicking the ball there, the Purdue's ball out of bounds.
Mike Scares, 6'7", a junior, will toss it in. It comes to Walker. 17:46. We played less than 3 minutes. Here's a steal, and the outlet pass immediately intended for Randy Whitman. He was breaking up court as Colbert threw it past his back out of bounds.
That's the best defense you can have against a lob pass. We've seen that work so many times. The only defense against it is to get up as high as you can before the offensive player can get it.
11, Keith Edmondson on the inbounds as Walker was breaking to the ball, fouled by Tony Brown. His first, the second team foul against the Hoosiers. 17:42. Now the clock runs. Walker. Thomas right on his shoulder. To Scarce. 33 is Drake Morris. Now Walker, top of the key. They look inside the cross. He makes a head fake, travel.
Quite a few interesting matchups. So we see Isaiah Thomas has the job of guarding Walker. As you mentioned, he's more of an assist man than a scorer. Randy Whitman is over on Drake Morris. He's really a forward, but that leaves Tony Brown to guard Keith Edmondson.
Brown, with Edmondson on him, brings it back. Whitman. And Isaiah Thomas from 12 feet. Banks it off the glass. His 4th, Indiana's 8th, and the Hoosiers take a 2-point lead. Whistle. Now let's check this. We're going to have to wait to see. All right. We have a double foul.
Randy Whitman and Keith Edmondson going at it. They were just coming out to get the ball. Each one kind of pushing the other one, trying to get position. Double foul is called. That's a jump ball at center court.
John, the officials are going to have to make a really concerted effort to keep this game under control.
I think they've done so far. 2 technicals on Purdue, 1 in Indiana, and then that call right there, a double foul. That's how to keep control of the game.
Brown, Thomas, makes the move, loses the ball, tipped out of bounds, Indiana ball. Checked out, Purdue ball.
Good defense that time by Walker. Isaiah wanted to take the baseline and go on the left hand. Ball was knocked out of his hands, out of bounds for Purdue.
This is Walker. Right side. Carries it deep to Edmondson. Thomas with a hand on the ball. But Purdue still controls. Now Edmondson drives. right into Thomas. Thomas steals. He'll drive. Drake Morris puts it up. Good! Morris, the only contender between Isaiah and the basket. And Isaiah, for his 6-point, gets Indiana a 4-point, 10-6 lead.
Indiana defensively is going to collapse around Russell Cross. That time the collapse ended up in a steal. Isaiah dribbled the length of the floor.
Scarce, and it's good. Mike Scarce. So Scarce for his first 2 points. The 6'7" junior puts Purdue back within 2, 10-8. Illinois leads Iowa with less than 5 minutes remaining in the first half. 25-20. Shot by Colbert, no good. And Cross pulls down the rebound. Purdue on the move. Trailing 10-8. Inside Walker. Oh, great move. Turnaround tipped up, no good. As Drake Morris had the possession and just sort of wildly threw it against the board and then tipped to Ray Tolbert. So the Hoosiers with a break, and now a chance to move back to within by 4 points. They lead 10-8. Whitman.
Well, you see Randy Whitman and Tony Brown are playing the guards. That leaves Isaiah inside. He's working to try to get open.
And now Tony, as he attempted to move down baseline, is called for palming the ball. A turnover, and we have a timeout with 15:28 remaining in the first half. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 10-8. 10-8 is the score, John.
Right now, Indiana's 3 of 6, 50%. Purdue's 2 of 4, 50% from the field also. Very close. 4 turnovers for each team. That's quite high for this early in the game.
Time back in. Purdue with the ball. Mike Scarce on the top of the key to Walker. Looks underneath to Edmondson. Turnaround. No good. And Purdue right there for the board, but Tolbert blocking it away. Shot by Drake Morris. And Ray Tolbert timing it to deflect it out of bounds. It'll be Purdue's ball. Walker, right side, drives, travels.
That's what Walker likes to do. He'll drive toward the basket. He won't shoot that much. He's looking to pass off. If Indiana comes over to guard him, he'll try to dump it across. That time he did. He got called for the travel.
Indiana with the lead and the ball. Whitman and Brown on top. Tony to Randy Whitman. Indiana looking underneath as Brown fires and connects.
Tony's really been shooting quite well since they got in the lineup. He started the third game now. Against Minnesota, he didn't shoot that well, but he started off real well here against Purdue.
It's 12-8, Indiana by 4. Tipped away, controlled by Isaiah. Here he comes, right side, he'll drive. Blocking foul, 33, Drake Morris, his first.
Quick hands by Isaiah. Here you see Walker with his back to his 20. There's the hand. Isaiah's got it, picked it right out of the air. And now it's a foot race. Morris comes down. There you see he's still moving as Isaiah made contact with him. Blocking foul is called.
So Isaiah Thomas will be at the line shooting 2. Isaiah 90.3% in Big Ten competition from the line. A little flex to the knees. Comfortable style, John, that we don't see a lot of players use. They sort of take the ball, bounce, and step back a little bit, and then arch it on its way. And there's Isaiah Thomas's second shot. Every player, I guess, John, has his own way of relaxing at the line.
Whichever way you feel more comfortable, that's the way you should do it.
Here's a full-length pass intended for Russell Cross from Keith Edmondson, and it'll be Indiana's ball, and the ball will come all the way back to the other end of the court. There's Bobby walking away from our camera. Gene Keady down on his knees to our right, signaling the play, defensive play that he wants against this Indiana's inbounds. And the foul as Thomas goes for the ball. Morris picks up his second personal.
Here we get a look at the out-of-bounds play. Randy's coming way on top to Isaiah. Morris did touch the ball, but his momentum carried him into Isaiah.
Team foul number 3 against Purdue. Team fouls are even at 3.
We talk about control of the game. Indiana's really played well since that 6-0. They were down. They scored 14-2 against Purdue.
Kitchell takes it in, feeds Tolbert. Good. Ray Tolbert's first basket. Indiana now has doubled the score, 16-8. And we near the 14-minute mark of the first half. Walker. This is scarce. Whistle, and we have a foul. A hand check against Kitchell. Ted Kitchell, his first personal. And substitution. Number 44, Roosevelt Barnes, in the lineup for Purdue. He replaces Drake Morris. Morris averaging 14.6 a game. Will sit down. Take a breather. Walker into cross. Double team. Kitchell in front. Tolbert behind. Here's the shot. Rebound by Brown. It's up to Isaiah.
Good pass by Tony Brown that time. Isaiah was already at the half-court line when Tony got the ball. He signaled for the pass, got the ball, and drove all the way in.
It's 18-8, and Isaiah has 10 of those 18 already. Here's Walker. Bounces inside, knocked away by Kitchell, and here comes Thomas again. He has 3 against 1. Pulls up, fires, and scores. And Purdue calls timeout with 13:20 left in the first half. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads the Boilermakers 20-8.
The Reno Gang. John, Frank, Simeon. The O&M headed southbound out of Seymour, carrying a trainload of passengers and 15,000 cash.
Here she comes!
This is the story of the first train robbery in the world, and it happened right here in Indiana.
Hurry up, John.
I got it.
Another page of Indiana history brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance.
We're back at Assembly Hall as Purdue prepares to toss it in. It's 28, Indiana with the lead.
Since that last time out, Purdue has made 4 more turnovers. They now have 8, and that's the reason for Indiana's lead. 7 of 10 shooting, 70% for Indiana.
Walker tries to go to cross, deflected by Kitchell out of bounds. John Kitchell is the man who will step out, a cousin of Ted, number 41, hails from the same area, Galveston, Indiana. Walker to cross, turnaround, over Tolbert, good. Russell cross.
Very tough shot to stop that time. He doesn't bother to take a dribble. He takes one turn to his right shoulder, left shoulder, and shoots that nice soft jumper.
Cross shows exceptional poise for a freshman in Big Ten, John. Earlier games that we have seen, you know.
So you see the defense right there. He's also a good defensive player. That time he came way out on Ray, deflected that ball out of bounds.
All right, Indiana with the ball in the lead. 20-10. It's Kitchell. Tolbert. He goes up again. The alley-oop was set up. Tolbert did have to come down. Cross had taken up a good position. Sort of slid in front of him. And
good pass by Ted Kitchell that time, too.
Ray just had to take his time. His 4th point. Purdue working it around. 44 is Barnes. Whistle, no basket. And the foul is on Ray Tolbert. Tolbert's second.
Here's a look at the Indiana defense again. Walker has the ball. He goes right into cross, and he goes right up with the shot. Ray playing behind cross. It's very difficult when he gets the ball that low to stop a man that big.
The foul occurred before the shot, so Purdue tosses it in. Here's Cross, another move knocked away, and Kitchell comes up with the ball. Good hands outside by Indiana. Isaiah drives. Foul, offensive foul. Isaiah Thomas really pumped up, and he started down the lane.
Here you see Isaiah on the fast break again. Walker is out of the picture. There he is. You see he's set. Isaiah makes contact, offensive foul.
22-10. Indiana with the 12-point lead. Purdue with the ball. We have 12 minutes, 4 seconds left to play first half. as the nearly 700 Farm Bureau insurance agents in this great state of Indiana hope that you're enjoying today's game and all the contests here on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Walker inside to Cross. He goes over Tolbert, and Tolbert has picked up his third foul. So Purdue has moved its strategy right in on Cross offensively, John.
Again, it's Walker to Cross. He's got the ball. He's only 3 feet away. Ray's doing what he can. There you see the contact with the arm.
There's Bobby Knight, 10th year, talking to Tolbert with 3 personal fouls. I checked that now. They have credited him only with 2 personal fouls. He's still not really in any trouble as Cross misses the first of 2. Apparently that first call or early call that we had interpreted as a foul was not a foul. Second is no good by Cross. And Indiana, with some gratuity at the line on the missed shots by Russell Cross, had the opportunity and threw it away. Now Purdue again on the errant shot or pass, as it may have been. Working the ball around. Ted Benson, shot off the rim by Cross is no good. Whitman from Brown, he fakes the shot to Thomas. Into Tolbert, loose ball, picked up by Thomas. Off the glass, off the rim, no good, and boy, we have a scramble.
Both teams really going after that ball on the rebound. Isaiah got it, tried to take that little 5-footer, just couldn't get it to go down.
Walker to the baseline, looks underneath, knocked away, out of bounds.
That time Indiana was able to use the baseline as that third defender, a trap by Tony Brown and Ray Tolbert. The sidelines acting as a third defensive man.
Out it comes. And to Roosevelt Barnes. Good move by the 6'3 senior. Barnes with his first 2. It's 22-12 Indiana. 10.5 minutes left to play in this first half. To Tolbert. Russell Cross right in his face. And now Thomas. Whitman. No good. Rebound off the boards, pulled down by Benson of Purdue. Let's watch Purdue set it up. 41 is Kitchell. Walker, now Benson, he'll fire. Good. Ted Benson's first field goal. And Purdue begins to thread its way back into this game. 22-14.
Indiana's defense is concentrated on Cross, and that leaves some of the other players open at about 15 feet. That time Benson hit.
Kitchell off the glass. Ted Kitchell. 24-14 as Indiana right back to a 10-point lead. Walker. 44 is Barnes. Ted Benson. Benson steps up, will not shoot, gives it to Kitchell. John Kitchell, spells his name J-O-N. To Cross, over the outstretched arms of Ray Tolbert, and Cross now with his 10th point. It's 24-16, Indiana's lead 8. Tony Brown. Randy Whitman to Tolbert. He fires. No good. Tries to rebound, and it's controlled by the Boilers. We have a halftime score at Iowa, Illinois 38, and the Hawkeyes 31. Yeah, we said that was at Iowa. It is at Illinois. Ray Tolbert sits down as Landon Turner, 6'10" from Indianapolis Tech, in the lineup for the Hoosiers. At last turnover off the foot of a Boilermaker, and so Indiana once again with the opportunity to extend its 8-point lead. Brown goes to Turner, makes the fake, shoots, no good. Tries to follow, Isaiah Thomas underneath, and a foul. Roosevelt Barnes picks up his first personal.
Good aggressive play by Landon that time. He took the shot, missed him, but there you see him right there for the rebound. He caused Barnes a little trouble. Isaiah came up with it, and foul was committed.
Indiana has committed 17 fouls, Purdue only 4, so the 1-on-1 still not in effect for the Hoosiers. As number 32, Kevin Stallings comes into the lineup for Purdue, replacing Brian Walker. Indiana all the way back to Isaiah Thomas, and the Hoosiers will start to set it up. An 8-point lead, and Indiana can be more patient looking for the good shot.
Purdue has made quite a few changes in their lineup. Scarce is the only player in there who has started. They've gone now to a zone defense. Looks like a 2-1-2 zone defense with most of the reserves in right now.
Isaiah Thomas, Randy Whitman. Yes, sir! It was 2 clutch field goals by Whitman in the overtime period last Thursday night that helped preserve and eke out that 56-53 win. Here's a steal off the hands of Kitchell. Whitman drives. The basket was good, but let's see if it counts. The basket is good.
Good hands by Randy. The ball's in the air. He grabs, turns around, dribbles left-handed. Kitchell's on defense. There you see the foul right there. Randy was already in the motion. Shot went in, 10 for a 3-point play.
Steve Risley for Ted Kitchell for the Hoosiers. Needless to say, this house is packed. It's at capacity. This game was one of the first games that was sold out completely. Randy Whitman. Good with the 3-point play. And we have a timeout. 7:44 left first half. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 29-16. If you look at the screen, you can see the other game scheduled today. We had the halftime score for you. Iowa at Illinois. It's Illinois 38-31. Michigan at Wisconsin, Northwestern at Minnesota, and Ohio State at Michigan State. Those are today's games in the Big Ten. And it's really a race in this Big Ten this year. All right, Purdue with the ball. 32, Kevin Stallings. 23, Mike Scarce. Pass to Eifert. Back to Stallings. Charlie Brown, look at Brown, right on his waist. Scarce. Steve Risley all over it. Scarce will fire. No good. Brown tries to rebound, and Turner comes up with the ball. Here come the Hoosiers. Whitman. And a foul. We'll be back to check the individual scoring in just a minute. Here at halftime, it's Indiana 39, Purdue 30. Almost a one-man show for Purdue. Russell Cross with 14 points. And John, as a freshman, this has to be a very difficult task for a young man to come in and assume the responsibilities of the post and scoring. And that's basically how he's been all season.
I think Cross has shown very good maturity for a freshman. Coaches love to see that. You can bring a player just from high school, put him in your lineup, especially at center. It's very difficult. I think there's the same respect to Isaiah Thomas last year, the way he came in. They kind of took control of the game. That's really an extra advantage if you can get that done.
All right, we have a special presentation out in center court. Let's go down to our public address announcer, Chuck Pratt.
University is proud that 2 of its players last season were selected to the All-Big Ten team. Ralph Lloyd, Director of Athletics, will present a scroll to defensive back Tim Wilbur from Indianapolis, and also to linebacker Marlon Evans of Cincinnati. Two All-Big Ten football players, Tim Wilbur and Marlon Evans, ladies and gentlemen. Indiana led the Big Ten Conference with 4 selections to the Big Ten Academic All-Team. Presenting these scrolls to players with a grade point average of 3-point or better is one of the people most responsible for this, Mrs. Buzz Kerpius, Director of Academic Counseling. The 4 Hoosier recipients, Kevin Spear of Evansville, Bob Stevenson, also of Evansville. Brent Tisdale of Cleveland, Ohio. And John Rogaman of Mishawaka. Finally, the university is very proud that one of its football team members, who also has been named to the All-American Academic Team, to Phi Beta Kappa, and to Scholar Athlete Award of the National Football Foundation, also has won one of the coveted NCAA postgraduate scholarships. Here is Professor Jack Wentworth, Indiana's Big Ten faculty representative for athletics, to present the NCAA scroll to Kevin Spear of Evansville. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you. How about a salute now to these honored football players from Indiana University.
Okay, there's a special halftime for you. We'll be back in just a minute with a conversation with Lee Corso. Today's game between Indiana and Purdue is being played at Assembly Hall here in Bloomington. The score at halftime, Indiana 39, Purdue 30.
You want me down there?
Morning, Reverend! What in tarnation was that?
I don't know. Amazing. Fascinating. Peculiar. Preposterous. Absurd.
The trial run was now complete, but who was in the driver's seat? Who built this cart that ran without a horse?
Remarkable! A splendid ride.
You must feel very proud inside.
Why, that was Mr. Elwood Hayes, of course.
Another Indiana legend brought to you with pride by Farm Bureau Insurance.
We're back here at Assembly Hall. And here's a fellow who, colorful as he is, he's one of the most delightful men I think I've ever known in football, and certainly a great tribute to the program here at Indiana University. And Lee Corso, I know that you have to be very, very happy with the way things have gone for you the past few years, but this last season had to be really super, both recruiting and what really is the future for Indiana right now?
Well, we're very, very excited. We've had a great recruiting season, but, you know, basically you've never heard a football coach says he has a bad recruiting year. So we're doing very well, but I'm particularly proud of what happened out here before, just a second ago. You know, we had more all Big Ten football players than any other team in the conference. We had the finest student athlete in the whole country in Kevin Spear, and to me that's more important.
Lee, I know you worked very, very hard to recruit. This has to be something right now. This is your busy time. You're looking at what you want. You're getting yourself all ready. It's a road job that is just as horrendously difficult as the games itself.
Right, because, you know, 80% of the games I've ever coached in were won with the guys with the best players, and that goes for this game today. So what you try to do is work hard so you can get better players than the other guy, and if you don't mess them up, you got a chance to win. So I think recruiting is definitely very, very important, no question about it.
Lee, how far away do you look for your players? How far do you feel you can go for your players?
Well, we look, in the state of Indiana, we look all the way down to the 10th and 11th grade, because basically even sometimes we look at 9th grade basketball, because the good big athlete is playing 9th and 10th grade basketball. But we look in the state, first of all, for about a couple of years in advance, and then we try to talk to them. And see, we try to win here with a concept that you win with Indiana football players. If we can get the majority of Indiana kids to come here, we got a chance to win the title. There's no question in my mind.
You know, we've got some good players here in the state, too. It's just keeping them here, right?
Yeah, I know. And I think that there's good competition within the schools, and I think most important thing is that each kid's got to make a decision based on what he thinks best for him.
You are another one of these advocates, a student first and an athlete second.
No question. At Indiana, our philosophy is that you work at getting an education and you play football. There's a difference.
You have to be smart to play football, and you got to be smart to go to school, too. So they coincide, don't they?
I hope so. I think there's a direct correlation between that, and there's no question about it. I think the secret to athletics is if you can get a good, solid kid who's got good character, you win with character and not characters, and there's a big difference.
All right, I want to talk to you a little bit more, Lee. Stick around with me right here. as we will continue with our halftime in just a moment. Let's pause now to hear from our local stations. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Back here at Assembly Hall with Indiana University football coach Lee Corso. Lee, the Holiday Classic game that you had a couple of years ago, the Holiday Bowl game, had to really bolster the recruiting opportunities for you. What are we looking for right now? Do you have any young men you can talk about now, or are you still in the promising stage?
I tell you what, I got in a lot of trouble with all the alumni from other schools when I started mentioning all these guys that we thought we had or wanted. So this year I'm going to keep them off balance and say we've got a few.
You know, you got Tim Wilbur. Super honor that he received out here along with the other boys, too. Tim will be back with you next year.
Right.
You're strengthening at the key positions. You have a good linebacker. You have good cornerbacks. You're getting them one by one. How does your line, defensively, let's say, right now? How do you
tell you what, right now we're in a process that if we can get a couple of kids in this recruiting area to get some depth and then also get an outstanding player or two, that we think we got a shot to make a real run at the title. Now, people say to me, what do you mean? Well, if you don't get any kids hurt, and you play extremely well, and the other guys aren't as good as they used to be, we got a chance.
You know, that it goes back to the old cliche, really. If you don't get hurt, you only need to be 1D.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why we need a lot of players. See, everybody talks about Indiana football or whatever, and it doesn't make any difference what sport. You got to have your best players on the court or on the field at the time. And if you don't, then you don't have a chance to win.
How's your lovely wife, Betsy?
Betsy's doing fine. I like to say hello to my wife, and don't they always do that? My wife and my family, and you know, tell them I'm still around. They haven't seen me in a couple of weeks. I've been gone recruiting most of the time.
You're breaking our executive producer up.
Really?
Lee Corso, thank you.
You guys got a low-budget show. You didn't even give me a place to stand here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lee, thank you very much. Good luck to you and continue good recruiting. Lee Corso, head coach here at Indiana University. Well, we are at halftime. It's 39-30. Indiana with the lead, and both teams, of course, getting their final instructions from the dressing room. Now stay tuned for second half action. We'll be ready for that tip-off in just a moment. Back at Assembly Hall, it's 39-30. Indiana with the lead as we tick down now in the final moments of the intermission time. Let's run down the scoring for you. For Purdue, Russell Cross, high point, honors with 14. Drake Morris has 4. Heath Edmondson 2. Mike Scarce 2. Roosevelt Barnes has 2. Ted Benson 4. And Greg Eifert has 2. For Indiana, Ted Kitchell has 8. 4 straight free throws starting the game and starting the scoring for Indiana. 4 technicals, technical foul shots on 2 technical fouls assessed to the Purdue bench. Steve Risley has not scored. Ray Tolbert has 4. Tony Brown 4. That last second shot to end the first half of play was one of those 2. Isaiah Thomas has 16 to lead both teams in scoring. Jim Thomas 2. And Randy Whitman has 5. John?
I think it's been a very good first half. The coaches want to see a little better action, I think. Both teams had periods where they were very sluggish and couldn't really take control of the game. Indiana does have a 9-point lead. It's interesting to note, there you get a look at Coach Knight and Gene Keady. Both coaches have done a lot of time here in the halftime talking to the officials. The officials, I think, have done a good job controlling, but the coaches want to make sure that each one keeps up his job.
John, this is not really a common scene after the game has already started. Generally, 2 coaches will talk to each other before the game. As a matter of fact, they become very personal. They get themselves socially related at that time. But during a contest, they generally remain with their own benches. So I think both coaches are very conscious of how the officiating is going. That's not to criticize the officiating. It's just how strict it is, how tight they're calling them, and what these 2 coaches are going to do.
Well, each coach is obviously very loyal to his team, and he wants to see his players play well, and they want to make sure that the game is just officiated fairly. That's their big concern. They don't want the referees to take anything away from the players, and they want to see who's the better team, not necessarily what the officials do. I think the officials have done very good so far, especially by giving 2 technicals early in the game to both coaches.
We may have an update later on the Illinois-Iowa game. We had a halftime score for you, 38-31. Here are a couple of finals in the Big Ten. Michigan defeated Wisconsin this afternoon, 74-67, and Minnesota down Northwestern, 74-63. We're just about set to get action underway. It's Indiana by 9, 39-30. Isaiah Thomas with 16 points, the game's highest scorer, but he's followed pretty closely by Russell Cross with 14. Again, you can't really say too much about this young man out of Chicago, Illinois. He's got 3 more years at Purdue and was thrown into a great position of responsibility for the Boilermakers after they lost Joe Barry Carroll to graduation last year, and Cross has come through quite well for Purdue. It'll be Cross and Tolbert to jump it up. Indiana moving right to left in this second half as we are underway, and the tip is controlled by Purdue. And immediately, Drake Morris with the ball brings it to the right side, and Purdue now trailing by 9. Drive and whistle, no basket, and travel called on Morris. First turnover.
Again, Indiana concentrated on Russell Cross. Nobody was watching Morris. He drove right down the middle, had a good layup shot, traveled on the way in.
First turnover in the second half of play. So Indiana with the ball. This is Randy Whitman. Both teams going with their original starting 5s. Tony Brown, pass intended for Tolbert. Loose, picked up, stolen by Thomas, and picked up by Brown. And he has it knocked out of his hand again. Here comes Walker. Up quickly to Morris. Wheel. And a foul. And Purdue is coming out much more aggressive than John.
Morris again with a quick move. Here's the steal by Isaiah. It goes right to Tony. Watch Walker come from behind. Good move. He snuck up. Scarce has the ball, and it's back to Walker.
Tony Brown takes a rest as Jim Thomas reports in for Indiana. The foul was against Randy Whitman, his second. Team foul number 1 in the second half. Keith Edmondson, 2 points only in the first half, averaging 17.3. Walker fires, no good. Thomas tries to rebound, whistle, and a foul on number 23, Mike Scarce. As Thomas went for the ball, Scarce got an arm, and Mike is called for his first personal.
That brings Gene Keady off the bench. Isaiah Thomas had good position going for the ball. Foul was called on Purdue.
We are still 39-30 and nearing 1 minute having transpired in the second half of play. Neither team has scored. Jim Thomas. Now Whitman. Isaiah steps up, fires, hits. Thomas for his 18th point and first 2 of the second half.
Isaiah really has that touch. He can hang in the air like that and still get that soft shot. He rolls it around the rim and it goes in. That shot was over Russell Cross.
Walker, Edmondson. Indiana really protecting the basket backside. By Scarce, no good. Tipped out, Kitchell. Thomas right up the middle and a foul. Walker is called for the personal foul, reaching in. The ball was kicked by Thomas, but the foul occurred before.
Smart play by Kitchell that time. He knows he's not the guard. He looks for Isaiah and gets it to him. Isaiah splits through 2 Purdue players. Walker called for reaching in.
Substitution for Purdue, number 35, Ted Benson back in the lineup, and Mike Scarce to the bench. 41-30. Indiana's lead is 11. Whitman. Now to Jim Thomas. Isaiah in the corner. Isaiah and Cross. What a combination that is. Isaiah at 6'1", Cross at 6'10". It'll be Indiana's ball, deflected out of bounds by Purdue. 18-17 left to play. In the early moments of the second half, as the nearly 700 Farm Bureau insurance agents in Indiana, your host for today's contest. Whitman, no good, and position belongs to Benson for Purdue. Morris to the left side, and he has Edmondson. Walker tries to fire, whistle, foul. Walker with a good double pump drew Isaiah Thomas off his feet, and Isaiah's called for his 3rd foul.
But it's an intelligent move that time by Walker. Here's the pass going in. He got position Isaiah. He takes a dribble, and now he gets that head fake, gets Isaiah off the ground. He goes up with a shot. Ray blocked it, but the foul was committed.
Ryan Walker, scoreless, and hits his first point of the day.
On the release! On the release!
Here's Walker's second. It is also good. It's 41-32. Indiana by 9. The same margin that they had at halftime. We have a late second half score, 54-46. Illinois leading Iowa. Isaiah Thomas. Purdue seems to be guarding a bit closer on this man-to-man. Here's a drive. A shot no good. Kitchell has it taken out of his hands. And Morris brings the ball up. No call. Walker. Vance thought there was traveling. Morris fires. No good. Kitchell with the board. Now Indiana cleared out. Kitchell has to put it on the floor, then get it to Whitman.
Your hand, 35.
Isaiah Thomas. Jim Thomas back to Isaiah. Morris, as Jim Thomas cut under the basket, Isaiah brought the ball right back up on the point and threw it away.
Turnovers will be very important here in the second half. Indiana committed 10 turnovers in the first half. Purdue had 12. It's a little bit more than most coaches want to see.
We have a 20-second timeout. Seems that Ted Benson's contact has probably slipped off the eye. Now he says it's all right. Substitution in the lineup for Purdue. Let's check. 35 is Benson. 23 is Mike Scares. Number 33 is Drake Morris. So there is no change. We thought momentarily there might have been a player checking in, but he was just down at the bench checking, possibly checking the scoring. Walker. Edmondson now back to Walker. 41-32. Indiana with the lead. Second half of play. Ooh, a soft pass by Scares. Could have been picked off by Whitman. Here's a shot up off the glass. No good. Kitchell out quickly to Isaiah Thomas. Thomas pulls up, fires. Good. Isaiah's got the eye, John.
Isaiah really loves that move. We've seen the last two games. He'll be on a fast break. There'll be a defensive player in front of him in the basket. He won't make that drive for that foul. He'll take that soft 10-footer, 7-footer. He's had very good success with it.
Here's Scares from 15 feet. Edmondson. He moves around, blocked away, hand on the ball, and Cross had it. Now Edmondson controls. To Scares. Underneath, alley-oop, touched by Tolbert, out of bounds. It'll be Purdue's ball.
Purdue still really looked for Cross inside. That time Cross came out to get the ball. Ray went up instinctively to try to knock it down, not knowing there was no Purdue player behind him.
Now Benson back in the lineup for Purdue. This is Morris, Drake Morris. Keith Edmondson. Benson, now to Walker.
You can see how far Kitchell comes off of Benson there to try to stop Cross.
Benson wanted the shot, whistle, and a foul. It's going to be on Tolbert. As Cross going for the ball, had the hand on the ball, and Tolbert grabbed an arm.
Open shot by Walker. A lot of action inside. Cross and Tolbert both go up for it.
We have a timeout with 15:43 left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 43-32.
There you can look at the halftime stats. Not much scoring so far in the second half either. Just 4 points for Indiana, 2 for Purdue. 60% shooting value in the first half.
All right, Purdue with the ball. This is Walker from outside. Kitchell fights for the rebound, and Jim Thomas pulls it away for the Hoosiers. Really jammed up under there. It goes up to Randy Whitman. He'll fire, and no good. And Cross pulls it down. Well, the Hoosiers with a chance to extend their lead again. Leading 43-32. 11-point lead.
Purdue really having trouble shooting so far in the second half. They are now 0 for 8, so they haven't hit a shot yet.
Under to Walker. He goes up, fires, no good. Tipped in by number 33, Drake Morris. His 6th point and first field goal. 43-34. Indiana's lead is now 9. Randy Whitman. Isaiah Thomas. Drake Morris right in front of him, so Isaiah has no place to go. Kitchell fakes the shot. It cuts to a post up by Randy Whitman coming off that baseline. And Randy, once again, finds the mark the same way he did it the other night against Minnesota, John. A very valuable 2 points.
It's a lot easier shoot when you're on the move that time. He came off a pick by Kitchell, and right the rhythm of the shot went up and made it.
Walker, Edmondson, Benson, now Edmondson. Into cross, whistle, and a foul. I believe they called the 4th foul on Ray Tolbert. Holding foul on Tolbert. Will be his 4th. Second of the second half, and now we see Landon Turner. And we'll see just now how well Turner can play behind Russell Cross and just what he really has to do to keep this big boy off the boards.
Cross really works hard for the ball, but on the other hand, Purdue looks for him very well, too. It's got to be a combination of both. So far, they've been doing it.
Whistle and a foul on Turner. John, let's have some of your expertise here. Those fouls, is Cross, by his motion, provoking Indiana into this, or what?
Yeah, Cross is looking for position. He wants to set up, and as he does, of course, the Indiana defense doesn't want him to.
Loose ball as Turner goes down for it hard, and he gets a hand on the ball. Will jump with Ted Benson. As Purdue goes to his bench, Kevin Stallings will come in and replace Brian Walker. So credit a lot of the Indiana fouls with a lot of hustle by Russell Cross. 45-34, Indiana by 11. The tip is controlled by Purdue. Morris to Stallings. He moves inside, shoots, no good. And off into the hands of Jim Thomas to Isaiah Thomas. A lead to Kitchell. He drives and stops. Ted Kitchell with his first basket of the 7th half. And a technical foul called on Kitchell for grabbing the rim.
Let's take a look at it. Here you see Ted with the ball. He goes up for the stuff shot, and there you see hung on the rim.
Kevin Stallings will shoot the technical. It's no good. Now, John, in this case, one way or the other, a real intimidation, adrenaline type move such as Benson's could unnerve the free throw at the other end. Not always, but the momentum in the house really was going with Indiana in that case.
Well, neither team so far has taken any big moves during the second half. Not much scoring and kind of ragged play by both teams. One of them's going to kind of snap out of it.
Landon Turner gets a hip against Russell Cross going for the shot. It's Turner's 3rd.
Here we get another look. Cross has good position right there on the block. Isaiah comes to help out. Landon goes up to block the shot and call for the foul.
Russell Cross will have 2. He has 14. We have 13:32 left to play. And the first is no good. Cross hit his first 4 free throws, missed 2, then hit 2 more. He has missed 1. Now hits the second. Indiana 47, Purdue 35. A 12-point advantage. Isaiah Thomas with the ball to Whitman. Isaiah, Indiana always, as much as they can, look to Thomas. And Turner, after nearly losing the ball, gets it back out to Jim Thomas. Isaiah pulls up and scores.
Isaiah is very valuable inside. There you saw him come out to the baseline. He got that shot over Benson. If Benson had come out any farther, he could have dropped it off to Landon. Good shot by Isaiah.
49-35, Hoosiers. Stallings will fire. He scores. Oh, great shot.
Can't leave him open. He's a very good shooter. That time Indiana sagged back in to guard the big people inside. He just took a nice 20-footer.
Isaiah Thomas to Jim Thomas. It's 49-37 as Kitchell fires. Scores! And Gene Keady is up. He's trying to spark his Boilermakers on. Says, come on. Edmondson to Stallings. He'll fire again. Good again. Whoa.
Just a good shot there. Isaiah had a lot more pressure that time on Stallings. He put up that 20-footer. He's hot.
51-39. to Thomas. Ted Kitchell. Whitman will fire. No good. We have a foul underneath. It's called on Landon Turner. Turner's 4th personal foul. And Turner, check that. That is his 5th foul. That's the error that we had. We'd given it to Tolbert instead of Turner. Landon Turner has just fouled out with 11:56 left to play. And now, the question is, where does Bobby Knight go on his bench now?
Grizzlies replaced Turner, and I think, as we mentioned before, Steve really played well that Ohio State game on Sunday. He played well against Minnesota. He comes on strong when there's big physical players on the opposing team.
Shot is good by Benson on a 1-and-1. Indiana's 7th team foul, and Purdue has only committed 2. So Purdue decidedly at the advantage now at the line. Here's the second for Benson. And it's good. Substitution 44, Barnes back in the lineup for Purdue as Ted Benson sits down. 51-41, a 10-point lead for the Hoosiers. 11:55 left to play. The nearly 700 Farm Bureau Insurance agents, your hosts for today's game and the entire Farm Bureau Insurance basketball season. We hope you're enjoying it. Jim Thomas, Whitman behind the screen, and Whitman finds the range for his 9th point.
Good quick shot that time. It came right off that pick. He leans toward the basket. Made 2 points for Indiana.
Edmondson to Drake Morris. Whistle, foul. It's against Purdue. Roosevelt Barnes, as the action is getting very physical under both baskets.
Each team has really picked up the tempo quite a bit. We've seen a lot more scoring. I think both coaches are pleased with that. Now they're trying to decide who has the control of the ball.
11:24 left to play, and we have a timeout. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 53-41.
Band Street was that guitar player.
Man need to sharpen his act.
So you don't like him, baby?
He got a guitar, baby. You told me the cat could jam, the cat can't even play.
Well, I thought the man was together. How was I to know?
Hey, man, come on, fire up there.
Whip it, man, whip it.
Hey, this cat must have got some new hands. Don't sound there.
Is that cat wheeling on the guitar?
That's Wes Montgomery. And baby, he's gonna make it.
Yeah. Another Indiana legend, brought to you with pride by Farm Bureau Insurance.
A couple of ex-Hoosiers. Left, Mike Woodson, Tommy Abernathy, and lower left was Patrick Knight, Bob Knight's younger son. It goes to Kitchell. Shot no good. Rebound. Pulled away by the Boilermakers.
Purdue so far really having trouble shooting. They're 3 of 14 in the second half. That's just 21%. Indiana 7 of 10 for 70%. 5 turnovers for Indiana, 2 for Purdue.
Russell Cross has Indiana really sagged back on him. Now to Stallings. He fires. No good. And Isaiah Thomas gets a big hand on the ball out of bounds. It'll be Indiana's ball hitting the official, Dick Bester, on the far side of the floor. Now Brian Walker back in for Purdue as Kevin Stallings comes out.
Indiana's fast break has really been working well. I think coaches encourage Isaiah anytime he has a chance to drive down and try to get that quick basket. That time Morris knocked the ball out of bounds.
Walker tries for the steal, Jim Thomas. And it comes to Randy Whitman. Whitman moves. Grizzly screening, but no shot. Now back to Whitman. Isaiah Thomas is low. He just circles up and down off the baseline. Good move. Great fake, head fake. Throwing Purdue off its feet, and Ted Kitchell hits his 14th point.
Ted's really worked on that part of his game. He fakes that shot. He got Cross to go up in the air, and then it's one dribble and a nice layup.
55-41. We have a foul. underneath the basket on Russell Cross.
That brought Coach Knight up. He could see it all the way from where he was sitting. Let's take a look. Kitchell gets the ball inside. Little head fake. There you see. He showed across the ball, took one dribble, banked it off the backboard.
IU has a couple of ex-football players, prep stars in the lineup now. Quarterback, of course, was Steve Risley for Lawrence Central, and a tight end for Lewis Cass at Galveston was Ted Kitchell, who just took that shot and was fouled. And it's on Cross.
Kitchell's having very good success moving in there. He's getting open with Cross on him. Here you see him on the baseline again. He goes up for the shot. Cross touched him on the elbow there. Kitchell had 2 shots.
Second foul on Cross. And the first of 2 by Ted Kitchell is good. 56-41. Indiana to a 15-point lead. Now still a 15-point lead as the second bounces high off the rim. 9:55 left to play. This is the largest lead in the game for either team. No call. Morris, he'll fire. No good. Risley tries to get the rebound. Morris follows and scores. Drake Morris with his 8th point. And now Purdue puts on pressure in the back court. Whitman to Jim Thomas to Isaiah. Isaiah tries to go baseline, loses the ball.
Good defense by Barnes that time. He had Isaiah one-on-one. Looked like Isaiah was trying to get around him. Ball went out of bounds to Purdue.
Brian Walker brings it up across the 10-second line for Purdue. They trail 56-43. Edmondson, no good. Purdue follows. Good! Roosevelt Barnes, his 4th point, 56-45. Again, Purdue with the pressure. Isaiah Thomas, guarded by Barnes. Across the stripe, and to Jim Thomas. 9 minutes remain to be played. Whistle and a foul. It'll be against 33, Drake Morris. Check that.
I think we're going to see another double foul. Both Kitchell and Drake Morris trying to get position.
All right. Drake Morris, his 3rd, and Ted Kitchell's 3rd. Let's look at it.
Here's Randy with the ball. There you see Morris and Kitchell both fighting for position. The referee called a double foul. Second one so far in the game.
Kitchell will jump with Russell Cross at center. Kitchell is 6'9", Cross 6'10". We have an even 9 minutes left to play. The tip controlled by Indiana. Risley. And Indiana's called for traveling. They say Risley turned it over. Too many steps.
Kitchell did a good job of controlling the ball. He jumped quick on that. Got up and tipped it to Risley. As soon as Dave got it, he was called for travel.
Roosevelt Barnes. 33 is Drake Morris. This is Brian Walker. It's 56-45. Indiana by 11. Good. Drake Morris. 10 points. 56-47. Indiana's lead is 9 in the Hoosiers. Personal foul. That happened away from everything, John. Quite frankly, I didn't see it. Morris.
Drake Morris, 33 again, running down the floor. Kitchell will be shooting, so obviously it was he that was fouled. Running down the floor, I guess, jockeying for position. Drake Morris called for the foul.
Well, that will be the 4th foul on Morris. And once again, Ted Kitchell at the stripe. Both teams now on the 1-1. So Kitchell with the first. And it's no good. And he's missed 2 in a row. 8:40 left to play. Purdue with the ball. They trail by 9. 56-47. Shot off the glass. No good. Drake Morris with the shot. And a foul will be called against number 44, Roosevelt Barnes, as Kitchell with that rebound was hammered.
Isaiah was open. He had gone. Here you see Morris with the shot. There you see Isaiah. He just kept on going down the floor. As Kitchell got the ball, good rebound. He sees Isaiah and tries to get the long pass to him. Barnes committed the foul.
So Kitchell will go back to the charity stripe. He is 5 for 7 tonight. 8:29 left to play. An important game for both teams. Exceptionally important for both teams. Kitchell, the first of a 1-1 is good. Indiana with a win goes to 6-2, and Purdue with a win, of course, would go to 5-3 and be tied with Indiana. With a loss, Purdue's record would drop to an even 500, 4-4. So it's very, very important. Here's Cross, turnaround, good. Such a soft shot by Russell Cross.
Good thing about Russell is he doesn't put the ball on the ground. We see so many centers do that, and they get it taken away. He just gets the ball, makes that quick turn, and shoots a soft jumper.
It's 58-49 as we near the 8-minute mark. Randy Whitman bounces to Jim Thomas, and Thomas almost loses right back inside, right into the hands of Russell Cross. Very, very costly turnovers for Indiana. 58-49. Purdue trying to capitalize. Shot is no good. And there's Isaiah clearing it off to Jim Thomas. And Indiana has called timeout with 7:36 left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. The Hoosiers lead the Boilermakers 58-49. It's 58-49 with 7:36 left to play. When time is back, Indiana will have the ball. As we look at a fellow, there he is, Joe Barry Carroll, sitting over on the far side. Big Purdue senior from last year, and he's playing his ball now professionally. He's down here as the pros are taking an all-star break. Here's Kitchell inside, up off the glass, no good, gets the rebound, and foul on Kitchell. Going for the rebound.
Let's take another look at it. Kitchell's got the move. Nice block by Russell Cross. It just came off. Kitchell goes over the back. Good rebound by Eifert. Indiana so far with 8 turnovers here in the second half. Coach Knight called that timeout. They're trying to settle things down. Just 7 minutes, 25 seconds to go. Now is the time when you have to control the ball.
As Eifert puts the first of a 1-1 through, John, let me ask you, it's exceedingly important when you look at what the score is, 58-50, an 8-point lead for the Hoosiers, maybe a 7-point as Eifert prepares his second shot, that Indiana has played nearly 10 minutes without Ray Tolbert in the lineup.
Kitchell's come in, and so has Risley. He's done a pretty good job rebounding. It's going to be a close game, I think, from here on in.
58-51. Here's Roosevelt Barnes right on Isaiah Thomas to Whitman. Now to Kitchell. Bounces. Knocked away. Right back into the hands. Kitchell goes up. He's fouled. Check to see it could be cousin against cousin. Nope.
Randy Whitman goes into Kitchell. Cross is right there. He tries to feed underneath. There you see Eifert knocks the ball away. Good save by Steve Risley. This time Kitchell goes up with it. Foul call.
John Kitchell was behind Ted Kitchell on that shot. The foul was given to Russell Cross. Two-shot opportunity, and it finds nothing but net. There's Ted. Youngster 2 years ago had a back operation, sat out a year, and he's really come back on strong. Second is good. 19 points for Kitchell, 60 for Indiana, back to a 9-point lead. Inside 7 minutes, 6:56 left to play. Barnes, to Walker, back to Barnes, looking inside. Eifert, around it goes, and a whistle. 34 foul, and that would be Steve Risley. That's the first on him, but it puts Cross at the line.
Steve's really done a good defensive job so far. Cross with 3 points now in the second half. He had 14 in the first half. We've only got 6:44 to play. The difference in the game has been the defense. Indiana's kept the ball away from Russell Cross in the second half.
Back in the lineup is Drake Morris. He comes in with 4 fouls, and sitting down will be John Kitchell. As Russell Cross moves to the stripe with a 1-1. 18 points for Cross. Hundreds of schools across the nation wanted this young man last year. He opted first to stay home in Chicago, then changed his mind and decided to come to Purdue. And Purdue's been happy ever since. 19 points for Cross, 53 for Purdue. They trail Indiana by 7. Isaiah Thomas. Roosevelt Barnes all over it. And a 5-second violation called against Isaiah Thomas. And we're going to jump it at the Indiana free throw line. It'll be Barnes and Thomas. Thomas helping the officials out a little bit. Bill Robinson had already committed himself to the call, though, so there's no change there. Tip, controlled by Indiana. Isaiah stayed with it.
Good effort that time. It was a second tap that went up. Isaiah knocked it.
Out of bounds off Isaiah Thomas's hand, and turnover again. Very costly, 60-53, as Purdue could pull within 5 with 6:17 left to play. Eifert. Drake Morris inside to Eifert. Turns around, knocks it away. Thomas tries to get the ball. Out of bounds, Indiana.
Good hustle by Jim Thomas that time. Loose ball, he went after it. Purdue knocked it out of bounds.
Purdue will pressure all the way in. And it goes to Jim Thomas. Jim on Walker. Up to Kitchell. To Isaiah. Randy Whitman. Floor looks a little slick. Whitman, that's about the 3rd time he slipped. It's either the floor or Whitman's shoes. Here's Risley. He fires. No good. Followed by Jim Thomas. Off the glass. No good. 60-53. And Ray Colbert will come back in. We have an injured player, Purdue, and an official's timeout. Roosevelt Barnes. Right up next to him, Drake Morris, whispering in his ear. And Barnes will come to the side. Keith Edmondson back in for Purdue, and let's check to see. Barnes now, no, number 33. Drake Morris, now Barnes comes out. Edmondson and Walker, and Edmondson to toss it in. There's Gene Keady.
Ray Colbert in at that short timeout for Steve Risley. Ray again guarding Russell Cross.
So Indiana now with its big center in the lineup again, playing with 4 fouls. Morris. Edmondson. Right over Kitchell. Tipped away. Jim Thomas right in after the ball on the foul. It's on Eifert. Greg Eifert, his first.
Jim Thomas, a good job rebounding. Here you see the action. Kitchell in good position. Edmondson missed the shot. The ball tapped around. Good timing. Jim Thomas went up and grabbed the ball.
60-53. It's been one of those kind of games. Indiana's largest lead in the first half was 13, 29-16. As Jim Thomas gets the first of 1 and 1. And Indiana had a 15-point lead here in the second half. Now, second is good. Back to a 9-point, 62-53. Indiana with the lead, Purdue with the ball as we near the 5-minute mark. Drake Morris, no good. Purdue rebounds. Morris back up again and good.
Morris did a good job that time of going after his shot. He took the first one and missed it. Went right after it, banked it home.
4:49 left to play. Indiana's lead is 7. Jim Thomas, Randy Whitman. Now to Ray Tolbert. Looking for Isaiah Thomas. Tolbert. Thomas. Now Whitman. Isaiah Thomas.
Indiana's going to use a little patience now. They want to move them all around, try to get that good shot, a layup, maybe a short 10-footer.
Ray Colbert, no good. Tipped up and in by Kitchell. No basket. The foul is on Kitchell, and Ted Kitchell has just fouled out.
Good close shot by Ray. That's the kind of shot Indiana wants to get. There you see the tap by Kitchell. Ball goes in. He was charged for the foul.
Ted Kitchell fouls out with 19 points. 4:13 left to play in a hard game. More importantly for Purdue fans, Purdue trailing by 7. With Greg Eifert at the stripe, a chance to move within 5, and there's still lots of time left in this game. Greg Eifert with 1-1, and it's good. Here's the second, and it's good. It's a 5-point Indiana lead, 62-57. Into Ray Tolbert. And Ray will bring it up. To Isaiah Thomas. 3-on-1. Isaiah pulls up, scores, and he's fouled.
Great play by Isaiah. Here you see Ray brings the ball across, gets to Isaiah as soon as he can. Two Purdue players collide. Here comes Isaiah. He stops short again. That nice 5-footer. He gets the roll, and he was fouled.
For Isaiah, 24 points. And a 3-point opportunity with the free throw, the foul on Keith Edmondson. Now it's on number 33. That's Drake Morris, the foul. The official had originally indicated 11. The foul was on 11. Now the official has said it's on 33, and that will be, if it is, the 5th foul against Drake Morris.
That's the kind of play Indiana needed in that situation. Purdue had closed the lead down to 5 points. They put on the full court press looking for that turnover. Isaiah was able to get the ball down the floor quickly, got the shot up, and now a chance for a 3-point play.
We have 4 minutes, 4 seconds left to play. At the charity stripe is Isaiah Thomas with 24 and a chance to make it 25. Isaac lets it go and drops it through. A 1-and-1 opportunity. Gene Keady is questioning now. The foul, apparently the official said, was after the shot and after the play. So it's a 1-and-1, and the second is also good. 26 points for Isaiah Thomas.
Very unusual play. He made the basket and 2 free throws. Becomes a 4-point play.
Now Purdue wants a timeout. Gene Keady has called him to the bench with 3:58 to talk things over. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 66-57. Our next televised game, Indiana versus Wisconsin, next Thursday night, Assembly Hall. Brought to you by the nearly 700 agents of Farm Bureau Insurance, and we certainly hope you'll be with us. No good. Not by Edmondson. And Indiana with the ball and the lead, 66-57. 3 minutes, 42 seconds left to play. Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Stallings on him. Now to Tolbert. Almost tipped away by Walker. Now Thomas. Jim Thomas. Indiana trying to play keep away, and Walker reaching around, commits the foul. His third. And that puts Jim Thomas at the line.
It's a good move by Walker. He used it 2 or 3 times so far in this game. As the player drives by, sneaks up from behind, and deflects the ball. That time he got called for the foul.
Jim Thomas, who has 4 points. Thomas is not really credited for his scoring. His consistency at the line, he's an 86% shooter from the stripe. And it begins to show in the late stages here. But he is a young man who really likes to go hard to the boards and has pulled down several rebounds, misses the second. He has 29 rebounds in his limited play so far in Big Ten competition. Walker, Edmondson, tries to go around Thomas, no good. And pulled away by Indiana. Now Isaiah will bring it up. Let's watch him work on Stallings. Gets it across to Whitman. 3 minutes left to play. Indiana has led since the tie at 6. Purdue jumping off to a 6-0 lead. And Indiana came back to tie it on 2 bench technicals and a field goal. Jim Thomas breaks to the basket, back to Tolbert.
Good move there. Indiana's trying to use the clock now. Jimmy Thomas could have gone all the way in that time. Right now, the clock is more important.
2:27 left to play. 2-3. And Indiana effectively working the time off the clock. They had the lead. 10 points. 67-57. And a foul. It'll be against Stallings, putting Isaiah Thomas to the line. As now Roosevelt Barnes. 23, Mike Scares back in. Ryan Walker and Keith Edmondson sit down. Well, big surprise from Champaign-Urbana. Iowa goes down to defeat 79-66 as the Illini. Tight the race for 5th place, I guess it is, in the Big Ten, John. Isaiah Thomas's shot is no good. The rebound to Purdue. 67-57 as we have 2 minutes left to play. Tipped away by Risley and controlled by Purdue. And an offensive foul called on Roosevelt Barnes, elbowing as he attempted to move around Isaiah Thomas.
There you get a shot at Gene Keady. Here you see Barnes with the ball. He dribbled his right in his left hand. He brushed against Isaiah. Foul was called.
A player control foul, the 4th against Barnes. And Risley looks for the release. It comes in to Ray Tolbert, and Tolbert starts to bring it up and then stops his dribble, gets it up to Isaiah, and a bad pass controlled by Russell Cross. Stallings out of Eifert and gets it right back. Roosevelt Barnes to Cross, good move. No basket, offensive foul, no. Foul on Tolbert. And that is team foul well over the 7 limit, but more importantly, it's the 5th foul against Ray Tolbert. So Ray fouls out with 1:38 left to play. He has only 4 points, held scoreless in the second half. Not really up to his potential of play. He had a tough task in there defensively this afternoon against Russell Cross and has spent most of the second half on the bench. 67-57. Scares, good with the burst. Mike Scares. Scares averages 5.5 points a game. He has 3. And the second is also good. Looks like it would bounce out and then drop through. Tony Brown will be back in for Indiana momentarily. Bob Knight up to have a couple of words with the official. The buzzer sounds. And now, Tony Brown in the lineup. Steve Bucci as John, Indiana goes for a quicker lineup.
Right now, Purdue's going to use that full court press. Indiana wants their ball handlers in there. You see Tony Brown come in. Purdue stole the ball last time Indiana had it.
Isaiah up to Brown. And a foul on Stallings. That sends Brown to the line.
Purdue's going to try to make that initial steal if they can, as possession before they did. If they can't make the steal, they're going to have to try some fouls. Tony Brown was fouled that time, just off the bench, just into the game. A good percentage foul by Purdue.
Okay, Steve Bucci, who replaced Ray Tolbert, is back in the lineup now. And Jim Thomas sits down. Second foul, correction, against Stallings, as we have a timeout with 1:27 left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads Purdue 67-59.
In 1900, a mighty good long time ago, a race for 3- and 4-year-olds was getting underway. The crowd, which was Canadian, all knew before the race began the favorites had the upper hand and they would win today. Well, up they flew, and from the start they showed amazing speed. Each driver, horse, and two-wheel cart was fighting for the lead. But by nose and then ahead, a horse from Indiana there, a nimble-footed quadruped, he set a fire at Peyton's. 4 years they tried, but none could match the speed and grace of old Ben Pax. Not only was he hard to catch, he never lost the race.
Another Indiana legend brought to you with pride by Farm Bureau Insurance.
Back at Assembly Hall, Indiana's lead 67-59. Johnson late stats.
Indiana 9 of 17, 52% in the second half. Purdue's 8 of 28, just 28%.
Tony Brown misses the first of a 1-and-1, giving the ball to Purdue with 1:25 seconds. No game is ever over until that buzzer sounds, and this one is no exception. And with such an arch rivalry between these two teams, anything can happen. Stallings fires, no good. Gets his own rebound, puts it up, throws sort of a prayer ball up in the air, and Isaiah Thomas comes away with it. And now Thomas slows it up, lets his offense get in forecourt, and then brings it across, and a foul against Stallings, his third. 6'5" junior picking up two quick ones here in the last 30 seconds. Once again, Tony goes back to the line.
Good play by Isaiah that time. In the first half, of course, he'd have taken that fast break opportunity, gone all the way up the floor. Now with just a minute, 2 seconds to go, he wants to slow it up.
Here's the first by Brown. It travels around, no good. Well, that's two in a row. Unfortunately, at this stage, the Hoosiers have not needed the exceptional burst that they possibly could have used in other games. But free throws could have been costly. Here's a shot from outside, no good. Eifert for Purdue. It goes to Barnes. He misses the shot. And a foul again on Stallings, his fourth. Roosevelt Barnes had looked like an easy two, and it rolled out. So Tony Brown gets an opportunity to go back to the line again.
Purdue really crashed the board that time, came up with 3 offensive shots. Indiana finally did get the rebound again. Tony Brown was fouled.
The executive producer for Indiana University basketball is Don Tillman. Today's game produced by Michael Rourke and directed by Bob Caldwell. Our network director, John Petritis. Audio, Fred Lawrence and Mike Pope. Video, Ken Houchin, Mike Mettert. On cameras, Dean McDowell, Mark Emmons, Bob DeLong. And we're saying our goodbyes this afternoon as Tony Brown misses the free throw to a young lady who's done an excellent job for us, Beth Ephraimson. Just an excellent job on the handheld. Here's a foul on 23. Mike Scarce, his second. There's Beth, a good shot of her. What a talented young lady she is. She's moving into another department in television. We wish her the best of luck as we have a timeout called here at Indiana University with 31 seconds left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana leads 67-59. Randy Whitman, 1-and-1, misses the first, and Bob Knight just almost collapses back in his seat. 26 seconds left to play. Purdue with the ball. Indiana has the lead. It goes to Cross, and he lifts it out of bounds off the hip of Steve Bushy. It'll be Purdue to toss it in. Continuing our closing credits with 19 seconds left to play, our banner coordinator today, Jim Butler, floor director Neil Sherrill, Dick Blair on video replays, and our graphics by Susan Reese. In it comes. Cross. He fires. No good. And Purdue again, crashing the board. Stallings this time. No good. Indiana, no. Rebound. Now the shot is up and good by Eifert. And a timeout has been called by Purdue. Greg Eifert, his first field goal. He has 8 points. And we have 6 seconds left to play. It's 67-61.
Indiana's now missed 3 front ends of 1-and-1. Tony Brown missed 2. Randy Whitman missed that last one. A lot of times that can be so crucial at the end of the game. Purdue's come down and had quite a few shots. So that last time they had 3 shots, I know one time before they took 3 shots at the basket. They just haven't been able to hit. Russell Cross got the ball inside. He was ready to make that stuff shot. Ball went off his hands, out of bounds, right back to Purdue. But they just haven't been able to get that basket right when they needed it. But on the other hand, Indiana has not made their free throws when it's been important.
Well, and offensively on the boards too, John, the blockout responsibility is a little bit lax here in the remaining minutes.
Purdue's taking a hurried shot. Most of the players aren't ready yet, but Indiana's got to make a mental note in their mind. The ball's going to go up now quicker than usually. You've got to get the rebound, hold on to it, because they're going to start slapping to try to steal the ball.
John Kitchell, number 41 in the lineup for Purdue in the closing minutes. And the Boilermakers just closing second, 6 remaining. The Boilermakers really putting the pressure on. They're not pressuring the inbounds pass. And it comes into Risley, up to Brown. That should be it. 3 seconds, foul. That's going to be on Cross as he reaches in, grabbing Tony Brown. 4th foul on Cross. Brown will go back to the stripe. Actually, Tony missed 3 in a row, John, on the 1-and-1. And he'll go back with the 4th opportunity now.
This is really the only way you learn, though. You've got to get fouled. It's a little bit different, of course, than it should have been practice. You got to do it when the stands are full and the game is closed.
Okay, here's Tony. First of all, 1-and-1.
That's one rebound, Ray.
And good. Look of concentration as Brown puts the second up and in. 2 seconds. Up court pass, deflected out of bounds by Brown. 1 second. Ticks off the clock. 1 second remaining. It comes in. Stallings fires. It is no good. Shot was taken after the buzzer had sounded. And so that's it. The end of the game and the final score, Indiana 69 and Purdue 61. We'll be back to wrap up things today, but first let's pause as we hear from our local stations. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. 69-61 final score. Isaiah Thomas, high point man of the game with 26. Ted Kitchell with 19 for the Hoosiers for tying the honors with Russell Cross of Purdue, who also had 19, and 12 from Drake Morris. They're the leading scorers for both teams. John, any particular trend that established the way this game went today?
Well, I think a very good game by Indiana. They stopped Russell Cross in the second half. That's the key. Unfortunately, Indiana has another game next Saturday. It's at Purdue, so we got to look at Russell Cross again.
All right, John, we're almost at the halfway point. Next Thursday night will mark the 9th game. Indiana's record now is 6-2, and Purdue drops to 4-4. The Hoosiers are a lot better off going to the midway portion, finishing the first half of the season than they were last year.
They sure have. They've been winning at home. That one loss to Iowa, the tough loss at Michigan. But other than that, the Hoosiers have played pretty good in the Big Ten.
Okay, that just about does it from me here at Assembly Hall, and of course we invite you to join us next Thursday night as we'll be back once again. Any reproduction of this telecast is strictly forbidden without the express written permission of Farm Bureau Insurance and Indiana University, which also has approval of the announcers used in this telecast. And now this is Chuck Marlowe for John Laskowski, speaking to you from Assembly Hall, inviting you to join us February 5th at 7:30 when Indiana meets Wisconsin at Bloomington in Assembly Hall. So long, everybody.
You have been watching Indiana University basketball, brought to you for the 10th consecutive year by Farm Bureau Insurance and the nearly 700 agents throughout the state of Indiana. By American Fletcher National Bank. American Fletcher says, we want to be your bank. And by Amex Coal Company, mining energy for today and tomorrow. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network.
This is WTTV Channel 4, the television home of Indiana University sports.
Good afternoon. We welcome you to the Saturday edition of the Scoreboard. Before we check out the scores we have, first a quick overview of what we have in mind for you basketball-wise here on Channel 4 next week. On Tuesday evening, the Pacers will be back in action after the All-Star break. They're in Milwaukee to tangle with the Bucks. We'll have that contest at 8:30. Then on Thursday, back to Big Ten action. We take you to Assembly Hall for Indiana and Wisconsin, 7:30 the tip-off there. And 1 week from today, a rematch of today's shootout, Indiana and Purdue up at West Lafayette. Well, the officials gave notice early that they intended to maintain control. They called 3 technical fouls in the first 2 minutes, one on Bobby Knight 2 on Gene Keady. Indiana found themselves back by 6-0. They tied the contest at 6, then ran to a 20-8 lead at the half. They led by 9, 39-30. The final once again from Assembly Hall. Indiana 69, Purdue 61. Isaiah Thomas with 26 to lead all the scores. Ted Kitchell for Indiana tossed in 19. Russell Cross for Purdue with 19. Well, now Indiana goes 6-2 in Big Ten competition, and all eyes are now on East Lansing, where tonight Michigan State will play host to Ohio State. Ohio State could go 6-2 with a victory for a share of the Big Ten lead. If they lose and go 5-3, we have a logjam for second with Iowa at 5-3, Illinois, and Michigan. Purdue now is 4-4. In a surprise this afternoon, number 12th ranked Iowa upset by Illinois, 79-66. That contest tonight, Ohio State at Michigan State. This afternoon, it was Michigan 74, Wisconsin 67, and Minnesota over Northwestern 74-63. Looking at teams ranked in the top 20 this afternoon, number 1 Oregon State over Southern Cal by 7, 55-48. It was Virginia over Duke, 68-47. Nothing in from LSU. In 2 overtimes, Kentucky defeats Georgia, 71-68. Kentucky was down by 1 point, 13 points. Wake Forest will entertain Marquette later today. In a late starting affair, number 7 Arizona State at Stanford, also getting a late start. Number 16 Brigham Young at number 8 Utah. Tonight, Southern Cal will be in South Bend to take on number 9 Notre Dame. Also late, UCLA number 10 at Oregon. North Carolina by 3 over North Carolina State. It was Maryland 72, Georgia Tech 64. Nothing in from Alabama Birmingham. Alabama will be at number 15 Tennessee later today. In an upset, it was Nebraska 57, Kansas 54. Nothing in from Manhattan. One other Indiana school in action this afternoon. Ball State back in the win column with a 76-69 victory over Central Michigan. We'll have more of today's scoreboard after this timeout. One more score just in. Louisville 92, Virginia Tech 70. Once again, Indiana will have at least a share of the Big Ten lead tonight, depending on what happens with Ohio State and Michigan State. They go 6-2 with their 69-61 victory. It'll be a rematch of that shootout 1 week from today from Mackey Arena at West Lafayette. We'll have that one for you at 4 o'clock once again on Tuesday. Indiana, the Pacers, and the Bucks from Milwaukee at 8:30. That's our scoreboard. Thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend.